processing industries where pyroprocessing is done using coal. Therefore, the Coal Ash Institute of India has been focused on knowledge dissemination, as Mr. Bill told all of us. And this knowledge dissemination is done through various media, one of which is, of course, holding these seminars and conferences. We do come up with certain publications. We certainly try to also bring in certain experts and deliver expert talks on the subject. And this is the way it has been going on. Then we felt that there should also be a kind of an approach for providing necessary advisory services to the industry. And with that in view, we have attempted to render quite a bit of service to the construction sector primarily. In the state of West Bengal, the first use of fly ash as an embankment making material was really done with the push of the Coal Ash Institute of India and the then project engineering group, the Engineering Projects India Limited, and many others. The power industry in the state has been quite concerned and proactive in ensuring particularly the management of the solid wastes. On the dais you would find, he will speak to you, my colleague Mr. Dasgupta from CESC, the Calcutta Electric Supply Corporation, an organization which has really reached almost 100% utilization of fly ash generated from their number of units. And this generation, this utilization also includes a substantial export commitments that this power utility company does. Similar is the case with the other power producing companies in the state. There is a lot of effort going on, and most of them have achieved very substantial results over the last couple of decades. What we find today is that ultimately, despite all our efforts to utilize the renewable energy sources, particularly as all of us are aware that there is even an international collaboration which India is also a party to for the solar power increase in the country. We have made very considerable strides in the renewable energy resources, no doubt, particularly in solar and wind power sectors. But with all that, there is a big but, that all the projections that we have got before us, we find that the dependence on high ash coal is not going to really come down significantly. Today, the thermal power sector is almost close to about 60% of the total power capacity in our country. There are lots of efforts in the power industry supported by the Central Electricity Authority. We have senior people from there. You would hear from them the kind of efforts that are being put in today. Despite all that, despite increasing the efficiency of the power generation, despite the newer technologies that we are talking about, despite all the efforts that we have taken, it appears that our dependence on coal for generation of the power will not really very significantly come down in the foreseeable future. You all are also aware that earlier we were looking at our promises for really moving towards the low carbon economy. Our targets were fixed for 2015. Now, all those targets have been reworked, and now we are looking at 2025 as the year when we will have to achieve certain committed results. And that's very significant. And all those things will have to be done with the help of the power essentially generated by using coal as the fuel. Another important aspect that we all should bear in this hall, that India is endowed with very large resources of coal, but unfortunately the coal is of high ash content. Somewhere on a national average we call between 35 and 40% of the ash content. Fortunately, the Indian coal doesn't suffer so much from the sulfur content as many other countries, particularly the United States, suffer from. Nevertheless, we have certain regions in our country, particularly the northeastern part, Meghalaya belt for coal, which has again got high sulfur coal to be used. And we are still struggling. I don't think that we have succeeded any significantly in using this kind of a high sulfur coal. Therefore, if we look at the future projections for us, we find that there are a few very significant problems to be encountered and solved in our country. One, of course, is the gross mismatch between the coal ash that is generated and coal ash that is utilized. By and large, if we try to even it out over a period of time, what we find that our generation, increasing the generation, is roughly about 9 to 10 million tons every year. Against that, if we try to really work out how we are progressing with the utilization of coal ash, we find that our figures range anywhere between 6 to 7, 6 to 8 tons. Or in other words, every year there is a significant amount of the ash which remains unutilized and dumped essentially in the ash ponds, and there are certain other activities being done with this ash, particularly for the low-lying area filling up. This gross mismatch doesn't seem to be really made up in the next few years. This mismatch will continue to stare at us for quite some time, because our basic generation of the material will also be substantially increasing with ambitious targets of power generation in our country. As you have all heard, that power for all is the objective that has been set in the country, and all the states in our country have also entered into some kind of an agreement between the federal government and the state government, and there are certain roadmaps being prepared for that purpose. This ambitious target of power generation obviously will lead to more coal usage and lead to more coal ash generation. So this is a sequential step from which we cannot come out in very near future. That's one. The other problem that's coming up in our country is that a substantial part of the ash generated in coal-based thermal power stations, the approximate figure people always quote is about 20% of the total ash generated, is in the form of the bottom ash, which is different from the fly ash. The fly ash is about 80% and bottom ash is about 20%, and this bottom ash is of certain characters, certain properties, that this is ultimately collected in a wet water-filled hopper in most of the plants even today, and then with high-speed water jet, it's taken out, and either it is thrown in the pond itself, which we call, fondly, all our ash fraternity as pond ash, which is basically a mix of the fly ash and bottom ash. And there are technologies, there are opportunities that you can take this even for a decantation plant where you can remove the water and then process this bottom ash and then ultimately lead to certain use of this. I will not go into those details at this stage. Now, this 20% of the ash generation in the form of bottom ash is the second important problem that is there with us in the country. So one is the basic mismatch between generation and utilization of the total coal ash. In that, a sub-problem is that 20% of this ash, in any case, we know has certain problems of utilization. The third important problem that we are all facing in the country is really coming from the air pollution. And in the air pollution, what's happening, that power plants which were installed prior to 2003 and the power plants which have been installed after 2003 and the power plants which will come up this year and onwards, progressively the norms for air pollution control are becoming rigid and rigid. For example, if we had, no problems of regulating our SO2 in the air pollution or NOx in the air pollution, today we have to strongly look towards that and see that how do we really come up and meet the norms for regulation. You will hear from a real expert in this field during the course of this conference, little later in the day, on the current and future scenarios of air pollution control for the power plants in our country. So primarily, we looked at three problem areas. As I repeat again, the gross mismatch between the generation and utilization. Second is the disposal and utilization of the bottom ash. And third is the air pollution area. And in air pollution, there are many sub-problems. For example, we will have to look towards even the, in the power plant tomorrow, we will have to look at also the heavy metals concentration, the toxicity issues that we are talking about. So there are many other issues. I'm not going into those nitty-gritties at this stage. Now, if we have to address these three major issues, then we need to be little more technology oriented, and we will have to upgrade our access to technology, implementation of technology, and this has to move quite fast. And for this purpose, we felt that there is a need for the generators and users of coal ash and also the operation of the plants to come here today and over the next 2 days. We need to really look at the various perspectives of these three major problems and then try to find out that how do we draw up the roadmap and how do we proceed forward in taking our total economy towards low carbon. We have an expert today. You will hear from him that the concept of what we call as the circular economy and how that would possibly be really useful for our country. You will hear from a real expert in that field today. You will hear during the course of the conference a few experts on air pollution who have devoted their time and years of profession in this particular field. You will be happy also to know that importantly, there are certain technologies which are fairly unconventional, but these technologies can really change the scenario of coal ash usage. For example, one of the technologies coming up is what we call as the geopolymer technology. Now, many of these things will be talked over, and the experts from those fields will really share their knowledge with all of you today. And our focus has been to really organize this gathering of experts and experienced people in both the generation of ash, its environmental aspects, and also the utilization of ash. With this objective in view, we thought of organizing this particular conclave. And I would also like to draw your attention to the fact that there is an international virtual organization of coal ash associations of the world, and we are also a participant to that particular virtual organization. And when we talk to all of them, then the president of the Asian Coal Association, Mr. David Harris, agreed for coming over and discussing with us about this particular conference, their views and objectives. And that's Mr. Harris is on the dais today. We have got also some experts from the R&D sector of China, and I have a good friend of mine, Dr. Sui Tongbo here, who is very well known in the field of solid waste management and also the new binder areas. And he has been quite successful in his own way in many of the projects, and he is also here today to share some of your thoughts. Obviously, I cannot name each and every one who is going to really participate and share their experience. We have with us some of the giants from the industry. For example, on the dais we have got Mr. Arun Saraf, who is the chairman of the UL Group of Industries, and they are also a leader in promoting the use of fly ash in some of their fiber products in a very, very innovative way. And he also agreed to be with us here today. So you can see that both in our audience as well as on the dais, we have got a set of people who really can change the scenario, change the worries and anxieties of managing the environment. And from that angle, I believe this conclave is a very important one, and we would like all of you to participate in a very active manner and share your knowledge, experience, so that we can take our steps forward towards a less polluted environment and towards a low carbon economy. Thank you.